Good evening, Washington, D.C., Facebook, Instagram, whoever's watching. Welcome to the Straight Up Talk with Earl Rush show. And if you haven't figured out by now, I'm Earl Rush. This evening, I have the honor and the privilege to have as my special guest, Watson Saintsulne. Watson Saintsulne. I know y'all think it's Watson Saintsuine, but that's not it. It's Watson Saintsulne. He's one of the leading instructors and performers of the Philadelphia South Jersey scene. I met Watson years ago when he used to come down. He was part of the Rollins crew. And he used to come down and support StuckOnSalsa all the time. He was always snazzily dressed because, Roland don't hang out with nobody who doesn't dress well. And he's been supporting StuckOnSalsa for years. He's a really nice guy, sharp dresser, as I said, and he's a very good dancer as well, and instructor and performer. So we're going to get straight to the point, and I'm going to catch up with Watson. And we're going to get straight to it because you are busy and I am busy as well. So we're going to get straight to the point. Watson.
Hey, Earl, what's going on? It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, thank you for coming on to the show because I know you're busy. I know you got some privates to teach somewhere. You gave up some privates to come on the show, so that's good.
Hey, man. Hey, look, it's all worth it for you, man. All worth it for you, Earl.
Thank you. So we keep it simple here. We go in chronological order. We start from like when you were 5, and then we go up to the present. So first thing I want to know is, and probably the viewers would like to know, where are you from, and where did you grow up? Around 5, where did you grow up when you were 5 years old? Where were you living?
Where was I living when I was 5? Well, I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Right, shout out to New York, Brooklyn. By way of Haiti, both my parents are Haitian, so I'm Haitian. First generation Haitian American, born in Brooklyn. So spent the first couple of years of my life in Brooklyn, actually. But most of my childhood was spent out in New Jersey, actually North Jersey, in Irvington, New Jersey, close to Newark, right? Not too far from New York. So I spent all of my childhood in North Jersey, but all of my adult life from about 16 till present day in Philly.
Okay. All right. So what kind of trouble did you get into when you were a young man, a little kid, say 5, 6 years old? When you were growing up, were you a good kid or were you into trouble?
I never got into too much trouble. Like growing up, I was, the short kid with big glasses. They used to call me Steve Urkel, right? So everybody presumed that I was like the smartest kid in the room, Most of the time I was. Sometimes I played it right.
Okay.
So not a lot of trouble, but definitely into sports and all the stuff that normal kids get into.
Okay, I got you. All right, so you into sports? Like, what were you good at? Watching basketball, football?
Yeah, just basketball and football. I love football, but growing up, I was too small to play. I played a little Pop Warner, right, in my younger years. Right. Played a little defensive end, a little running back. But going into high school, it became very clear that a career in the NFL would not be good for me, right? I was just too small, right? Okay. So I played basketball. I got very good at basketball. So that's kind of like where my athleticism came from.
Okay. You mentioned Urkel. And, we boys, so I can be straight with you. I used to see you in Philly a little bit, but to be honest with you, I never really paid attention to you until you wore that Urkel costume contest at the Philadelphia Salsa Fest.
That's interesting. I completely forgot about that. And that was the first annual Philadelphia Salsa Festival, too, the first one. Yeah. Sonia from La Luna, she was the organizer for that event. And, I always wanted to, play Urkel. And that was just my chance to do it, and it hit. Everybody thought I was Jaleel White out there.
Oh, man, you tore that out. I was like, look at this dude, man. I said, I've seen him before, but that's Watson. It was a great costume. Did you win the contest? You won the contest for that?
I won the contest, $500. $500 for that one contest. Thank you, Sonia.
There you go. Okay, so we're good in elementary school. We're playing sports. In high school, did you play basketball in high school?
Yeah. Play a little basketball. In high school we moved around a little bit, right? Okay. Making that transition from Jersey to Philly. So in the very beginning part of my high school experience, played a lot of basketball, right? Played freshman JV ball in school, and that's that, and that's about it. That's all I got into. Okay,
so. Well, now you can dance and everything, and you teach class and everything. Of course, the women are going to love you. The women do love you. Did they? How were you? Were you successful with the ladies when you were in high school?
No. Again, here's the thing. Again, like in high school, we moved around quite a bit. So I was always the new kid on the block, right? Little short black kid, wore his glasses, stayed quiet. So I was always making new friends, really shy, not outgoing. Even when I started salsa dancing, like I loved it, but like I was a shy guy out there, right? Okay. People tend to be a little surprised by the fact that I'm shy. Like I am really, really like not out there, right? Most of the time, right? But yeah, not really successful at all.
Okay. So when did you move to Philly?
When I was 16.
Okay.
At 16 years old. Yeah. When I was 16, I moved to Philly. My cousin, who was from Brooklyn, ended up moving to Philly, right? My mom's sister's son, right? My cousin, right? And my mom talking to her sister, she's like, how's Philly? My aunt was like, Philly's great. You should come through. And lo and behold, here we were.
Okay. So did you do any other type of dancing when you were growing up, watching hip hop, or did you take any dance classes or anything when you were growing up?
Nope. No, none. So like my experience dancing growing up was just the two-step in church, the side to side, praise the Lord, right? That's it.
Okay.
I didn't take any formal dance classes, no tap, ballet, or jazz growing up until I started salsa dancing. Yeah.
So you mentioned church. Did you sing in the choir?
I did. Yeah. So yeah, my family is a Christian family, right? So my dad's a pastor. My mom is a minister. So we grew up, in church. So when I first moved to Philadelphia, we found a nice little church home, right? So, first experience there was being a part of all the youth groups, being a part of the choir, and having that really good experience, learning a lot of great lessons there.
Do you play any type of instrument?
I tried to play the guitar. Like key emphasis on the try, right? Yeah. Because, it's funny. I actually, when I first started taking salsa lessons, I decided to like try a whole bunch of things all at once. So I took salsa lessons. I was taking guitar lessons. I was taking voice lessons, just to kind of like spice up my weekend, right. And I love the guitar. I'm a huge fan of the blues. Like outside of like salsa, bachata, it's like Eric Clapton and B.B. King for me, right? Okay. Absolutely love the blues. So I fell in love with that. But once I started dancing salsa, everything else just kind of like went out the window.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I can relate to you, Watson, because, even though I'm very outgoing, I'm a bit shy person as well. I tell people I'm shy. Earl. Come on. Seriously. So I can relate to you,
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, my ego is so big, I fear rejection. Mm-hmm. So I usually deal with people that I know or things like that. I don't try to, I love meeting new people, but I'm still kind of, introvert, extrovert kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I take you, Earl, to be an extrovert, like extrovert guy.
Okay, so we're in high school. So did my research because I always try to research the subjects that I interview. That does help, you know, for you to know.
Of course.
And so it said that you got into salsa because you wanted to do something different for resolution.
Yeah. So here's the quick 2-minute story of how this whole Latin dance experience even got started. So my godfather, who's Jamaican, he has a house. He had a place out in Yeager, Pennsylvania, right outside of Southwest Philly, right? And, you know, all of us guys, we would go there, hang out with him. And some of my friends, they ended up taking a trip to Miami. And this is before we had cell phone cameras. They had their camcorder in Miami on a party boat. And there was this couple dancing bachata, right? So I didn't go on the trip. They come back home. We plug the camcorder to the TV. I see this couple dancing bachata. I'm like, I want to do this. I didn't even know what it was. What I thought it was tango. I'm like, okay, this is tango. So I started Googling tango in Philadelphia, not even knowing that they were really dancing bachata, right? And then after doing some research, you know, just simple salsa, bachata, tango in Philadelphia, I came across Brasils Nightclub.
Okay.
And it was towards the end of the year. So I'm like, okay, in the new year, I'm very big on New Year's resolutions. So I really take, you know, around this time of year to reflect on like everything that I've done throughout the year, some things that I want to accomplish in the next year, kind of take an inventory and set some new goals for myself. Right. And, you know, at that time, I was like, okay, my weekends are very boring. Right. So let me spice it up. So I decided to, after watching that tango video, right, I decided to, you know, try out salsa dancing and the guitar lessons and the voice lessons and pick up a couple books that I've really been meaning to pick up. So, yeah. And at that point, my first lesson ever was with Michael Andino at Brasils Nightclub, right in the heart of Old City, Philadelphia, right? And, you know, started there. I got a chance to speak to him for about 15 minutes before the class because I showed up mad early, right? And, almost walked away in the middle of the lesson because I was having a hard time doing it by myself. And then once they said partner up, I'm like, if I can't do this by myself, how am I supposed to do this with a woman in my hand? Almost glad I stayed, and the rest is history.
You know, Watson, I tell people all the time that if you learn how to do a Latin dance, your whole life will change. You know, but they don't ever believe me. And these guys struggle to meet women and everything. And I tell them taking a salsa or bachata class is the easiest way to meet a lady, but they still won't do it. So I don't feel sorry for them when they're running around and I got all the pretty ladies around me and they're over in the corner lonely because nobody wants to dance with them. I said, see, you got to learn how to dance, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's real. So for someone like me, who is an introvert, who is very shy, learning how to dance became a way for me to like build a whole new social network, right? Make a whole new group of friends, right? I meet some amazing women, right? Out there on the dance scene, right? I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely one of the most attractive things about, you know, going out to a club, you know? We can talk, Earl, right? Like when you go out to your average hip hop club, it's the guys on the wall, the girls dancing with each other, right? And good luck trying to get a dance, right? But in the Latin dance scene, it's so much more friendlier. Everybody's open. Everybody, you know, wants to have a good time. There's a lot of interaction. So that was very, very appealing to me, you know, when I first got started. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell people one of the reasons why I fell in love with salsa, because, you know, when you go to a black club, well, the circles that I was in, everybody was superficial. And so most of the time, people will be asking you, where do you work? What kind of car do you drive? Where do you live? And, you know, in salsa, people don't ask you those kind of questions. They just want to know, do you want to dance?
Yeah. You know, and it's, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. And, you know, with me coming up, your dance ability, right? Your ability to dance was your status, right? So it didn't matter where you were from. It didn't matter, you know, how much money you had. It didn't matter where you worked. If you can dance, you had friends. If you couldn't, you need to go to a studio and learn.
Okay. So, all right. So you started out about 2008. So you never made it to the Stardust. You heard about it. Did you ever make it to the Stardust when it was hot? No, that was a little bit before your time, maybe.
That was a little bit before my time. I'm kind of like second generation Philly salsero, right? So, you know, by the time I came onto the scene, you know, that's when, you know, the likes of like your Noels, your Darlings, your Jessicas, your Sonias, those guys were like, you know, already established and actually taking off, right? In terms of like, you know, being notable instructors in the scene and starting to travel and putting together performance teams. I came in as like the second wave underneath those guys.
Yeah. And you know, and I tell people all the time, and I'm not name dropping them, I knew all those guys when they were first starting out, you know. That's the beauty of being an old man. You see people when they first start out, and then you see people turn into stars or champions, you know.
For real.
That's a beautiful thing too. So you're taking class with Mike Andino at Brazil. I've been to Brazil. I used to go to Brazil way back in the day. I used to travel on one of my jobs, and Brazil. Okay.
Yeah, you there? I got you now. I see you now.
So Watson, if I freeze up or go out, don't panic. I'll be back in. You know, a lot of times on the internet, these things go out. We don't have any control over that. So I'll cover for you if you freeze up, and you cover for me. It's no big deal.
I got you.
People get crazy like, oh, the internet's out.
No, it's cool. It's technology. Comes with the territory.
There you go. So I would imagine when you went to Brazil, you were like, oh, yeah. Because, you know, Brazil was always packed. So I know you were meeting a lot of women and everything out there.
Yeah, you know, true. I was a little overwhelmed, you know. I just knew that just going out on like for the first time, I think it was like a Friday night, right? That was typically like the random kind of like just general salsa night. And then finally going there on a Wednesday night when all the dancers come out.
Right.
That's when I knew like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to take some lessons. Right. So I always tell people this, like, if you want to hit the ground running, you need to buckle up and just, you know, go take your group lessons and your private lessons. Right. Yeah. So when I first got started with Mike Andino, I took my first private lesson ever with him. Right. And then from there, he actually assigned me to one of his other instructors, Brittany Webb, right? Okay. I call her Salsa Mama every single time I see her, right? You know, and she calls me her salsa seed, right? Because for the first 3 months of me learning to dance, every single Saturday before I took my group lessons, I had a private lesson with her, right?
Oh, what was her name? Do I know her?
You might. She's old school. Like, she ain't old. She's a young woman, but like she's like from way back in the day, right?
What's her name?
Brittany Webb.
No, I don't know Brittany Webb. I don't.
Yeah, it was her, and at the time, you know, she was dating a guy by the name of George. We called him Little George because there was Big George and then Little George in Philly, right? Yeah, and it was great because, you know, he would come in, he would sit in the lessons while she teaches me, and then he would help me out as well. So I think that I was really able when I first got started to like hit the ground running and really like get a lot of my fundamentals really fast. And then on top of that, I was social dancing, right? You know, right. So yeah, met Mike Andino. He assigned me to a great instructor. She taught me all of my fundamentals, and you know, my hunger just kind of like took me forward from there.
Yeah, well, you were blessed and lucky because, you know, Mike Andino, if you want to learn how to dance, he's the man that you need to meet,
bro. He's the smoothest guy I know, right? Yeah. He's smooth.
Yeah, I never hated on him. I always loved him. I never hated on him. I used to see him at the Stardust, and all the women would dance with him. I didn't get mad. I was like, this dude's smooth, And
He's
he was always very kind to me as well, because I was out of town. A lot of times when out of town people go to different cities, and I could dance a little bit back then, they'd be looking at the person from out of town, looking at, what are you doing over here and stuff. But everybody from Philly was very nice to me, from Noel to Jessica, Sonia, Barbara. Those are my girls.
Everybody, yeah.
All the guys, Darling, all them. I never felt any hate from the guys from Philly. That's what I liked about that.
That's cool. That's cool. That's good. That's good.
Okay, so you studied. So what led you to the famous group to study with Art in Motion?
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, so I started off with Mike at Estilo. This is when they had their location in South Philly, right? Okay. And at that time, it was a very interesting period of time because, AIM was just getting started at Estilo, right? So this was before Darlin broke off and, had his own team and built his own studio. So at Estilo, you kind of climb the ranks, right? From like learning your fundamentals with Mike, who I think Mike is like one of the most gifted instructors, like period, ever when it comes to beginners, because he really makes salsa make sense to the average person, right? So you take your beginner classes with Mike Andino, and then you climb up the ranks to the other instructors, and like Darlin was like the final boss, right? Like he taught all of the advanced classes. So I would take all of his classes, right? And then once he left and decided to, open up his own studio and have his own teams, I decided just to follow along, right? Okay. And then I went through that whole journey of traveling and performing and doing all that stuff with AIM there.
Yeah. And so when you made your resolution to try something new, you had no idea that you would end up traveling around the world doing
that is fact. I had no idea that these Suzy Q's would take me around the globe, bro. Like for real. I have so many different life experiences that I would have never been able to. I can't say never, but I didn't see coming as a result of dance, right? It's just opened up so many doors for me, and I'm super grateful. I've been able to like make a lot of good connections, not only be in the right place with the right time, but have the right people around, regardless of like relationships or anything like that that have come and gone. I've just been super fortunate to have those experiences that kind of led me to see the world through dance.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: Watson, did one time when you guys, did you guys go to Japan or over to the Far East one time?
Oh, we went to China. We went to China. Yeah, I was at it twice in like a matter of like in the 6-month period. But yeah, at the time, Darlin was going to China every year, annually, right? And one year they just decided to, bring on the whole team. So we went there. I think it was for the China Festival, maybe 2015, 2016, something like that. And then they loved us there, so they decided to have us back for another festival later on that year. Yeah.
How was the scene over there? I know they're zealots over there. They're really into salsa over there, aren't they?
Listen, salsa. We say salsa is life, right? But we playing games compared to what they do out there in China. Right? Salsa is like blood, sweat, and tears and life and religion out there, right? It's a different attitude when it comes to the education behind it, right? In China, they really respect, the culture, the tradition, the technique that's required. The social dancing it's on the commitment to social dancing is on a whole nother level, right? We social dance and we drink and we have fun and we're just like tripping around. No, they're like focused, right? I'll never forget for the first time I walk into a room, the ballroom in China, and Terry was there, right? And of course, like Terry, he's the GOAT. Like I look up to him. To me, Terry's like the greatest salsa dancer of all time, social dancer at least, right?
Right.
And women are literally forming a single file line around the dance floor to dance with him, right? And they won't dance with anyone else. If it takes a half hour to get to Terry, they will do it. And then lo and behold, I'm in there like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna have fun. I have a couple of dances, and then there's a line forming behind me, right? down the hall, with women waiting to dance. I mean, it's just a different ball game out there when it comes to the commitment to really, social dance and level up, right? In China.
So let me ask you this: are the women friendly over there? I would imagine they are. I don't know. I've never been over there. I've never been fortunate enough to go over there.
Yeah, they're friendly. They're friendly. I mean, I don't speak Chinese, so I wasn't able to have too many conversations. But in terms of dance, I mean, they are very warm and welcoming, right? When it comes to, their dance scene there.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Watson, because everybody goes through it. I went through it. I would imagine you did also. But, when you were taking a couple of classes with Mike, I mean, it took you a while to get to your level. Did you ever experience snubs? Did you ever experience asking ladies to dance and they look at you up and down like that and then just say, no, I don't want to, and then turn around and dance with somebody else right in front of your face? Did that ever happen to you?
Plenty of times, right? I remember one experience at Brasils Nightclub, right? I was dancing there, and this was about like maybe a couple months in, and I was dancing with this one woman, and now I can see, looking back at it, like she was more of like a Cuban dancer, like she was from Miami, right? I've never seen that stuff in my life. I'm thinking like she's dancing on one because that's what everybody dances, right? And we were just not meshing well, right? She literally pulled her arms away from me, looked me up and down, and walked off the dance floor. Wow. I didn't go to Brazil's for about 3 months after that. I took all my lessons and I went everywhere else, right? I went, to Alfie's on Sunday, right? I went to Lyrics on Thursday nights, like Van Gogh on Monday. I completely skipped Brazil's for about 3 to 4 months after that experience. But I knew that, in taking lessons and just getting better, I knew she wasn't that good at either. So I was like, all right, I'm bad, you bad too. We were just bad together. We were just a bad match, but yeah, that hurt me a lot. But yeah, like, in certain dance scenes, right, it's tough, right? Because people want to have a good time. People don't want to get bogged down with, bad dancers. And for women who are followers, you gotta be a little empathetic towards them, because if they don't know you and they don't never seen you dance, they don't know if you're going to manhandle them. Like, guys, we lead, they have to follow, right?
Right.
And women get manhandled all the time. So I always try to keep that in mind if I'm somewhere that I've never been before and I get rejected for a dance, and I'm just like, hey, look, she doesn't know what she's missing out on, and you don't know what you don't know. I've had that experience a couple times in New York, right? The first time I was in New York, it's rough out there, right? But again, you got to level up, bring the skills to the dance floor, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You tell me no, don't worry. I'm gonna work harder. I'm gonna come out at the dance floor, and then you gonna ask me to dance later, right? Which was typically happens, right? Nowadays.
So I've seen you in D.C. and I've seen you in other states, other cities, and I noticed, and one of the reasons why ladies like you pretty much dance with any and everybody. Is that because of the you didn't want anybody to feel the way you felt when you got shunned, or is that why you dance with everybody, or you just dance with everybody because you just dance?
At the heart of it, bro, like, I'm really out there trying to have a great time. So some people just get caught up in the great time train. Like, if you don't know how to dance and you get to me, we just gonna have to find a way to make this thing fun.
Okay.
So because I'm in that environment and because I love it, obviously, like, for me, if I see somebody across the room and I see that they can dance, I'm like, all right, before the night's over, I'm gonna get to you. But at the same time too, like, if I'm in a Congress, if we're at a festival, like, there's just so much opportunity to have a great time in the room. It's like candy to a baby. There's just so many flavors out there. Who knows what you do? Some of them are great, some of them are not as great, but at the end of the night, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to have a great time, and whoever's down for it, we'll have a great time together.
I got you. So when did you meet Roland? That's your guy. That's your guy right there. When did you
That's
meet
my
him?
boy, man. That's my boy. That's my big brother. So for me, I'm the oldest of three, right? I have one brother, one sister, one younger brother, one younger sister, right? If I had a big brother, that would be Roland Simmons, right?
Mm-hmm.
He stays looking out for me. He's literally like a brother from another Mambo mother for me, right? When did I meet Roland? I believe it would have had to have been probably around, between 2009 and 2011, around that time.
Okay, all right.
My earliest memories of Roland is during one of the Estilo student showcases, Estilo Dance Studio. Mike Andino is the director of Estilo Dance Studio.
Right.
And he was part of one of the performances there. And I remember seeing him at Estilo, actually, taking lessons and learning along. So yeah, we kind of just had that like brotherly relationship that we developed, with us both being social dancers. He was heavy on two, right? So he went to New Jersey and New York, and he was dancing on two long before I even wanted to, right? For me, my first couple of years of salsa dancing, I'm like, I'm on one strictly. I'll never even switch it up. And he was out there trying to learn mambo like from day one, being in Philly, right? Which was rare, right? Because Philadelphia is more of an on one scene.
Yes.
He was out there trying to learn on two. So between going out to the clubs and seeing him at the studios, you kind of built that friendship and that brotherly love. And then we just kind of like, grew it from there.
Yeah. Now, you used to come down to the StuckOnSalsa parties. You used to come every big party. You were coming down there. That's another reason why. That's why I like you, because you supported me. I don't usually like guys. I don't like a lot of guys. But anybody that supports me, I like. And so I really appreciated that. And what I wanted to ask you, I wanted to get to the point is, you've been to several cities and you've been to several dance scenes. Do you have a favorite scene outside of Philadelphia that you like to visit the most? I'm putting you on the spot here.
That's a good question. That's a good question. See, I've been to plenty of festivals, right, and congresses. But when you go to congresses and festivals, right, you get like a group of people who are from out of town. So it's not a real reflection of that scene, right? When you go to so I'm going to answer your question in terms of scene, right? And then maybe I can go into like Congress, because there's like a big difference, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of a scene outside of Philly, I would say that I'm going to break this down with salsa and then bachata.
Okay.
Right. In terms, this is tough, man, because I've been in a lot of different scenes. Right. I would have to say, in terms of salsa, outside of Philly, hands down, it doesn't get any better than New York.
Okay.
Right. I know it's probably a cliche answer.
No, it's not.
But the thing with New York is that, of course, it's like the mecca of all, salsa and mambo dancing, right? But like you feel the flavor, right? There's so much flavor. There's so much life in the dance, right? In some scenes, it's very much of a social scene, right? Where you just happen to dance, right? And personally, I think that's kind of like where Philly's at right now. Like we dance, but we're really a party scene. We just so happen to dance at the parties. Whereas in New York, from the day I got started to today, they take their Latin dancing seriously. And, again, they are a dance scene that just so happens to do this shit professionally at a party, right?
I got it.
So in terms of salsa, it requires you to like really just like hone in on all your skills. I feel like I can open up and just do like grab almost anyone and do and really express and explore everything that I have, and then learn some more, right, while I'm there in New York. In terms of bachata outside of Philly, Believe it or not, I would say, in terms of a scene, DC. DC, yeah, like I don't know. I think DC is more known for their salsa, but like when I come down and dance bachata, like sensual bachata in DC is just hands down awesome. I don't know what y'all feeding y'all girls over there with y'all sensual bachata, but everyone, I may have to give. You know what? I definitely know why. Cat
Arias.
She is the reason, right? That all of those girls, they are like sensual bachata beauties and beasts on the inside.
Yeah.
Right. But even like traditional bachata, I find that there's a lot of women there that really embrace that. And that's rare. At least with what I see here in Philly and what I've seen over the last couple of years at different festivals and congresses where sensual bachata has just been taking over everything, and people are losing that traditional aspect of of bachata dancing. So I think DC is definitely more of a sensual scene, but like they respect the traditional aspect of it. So I kind of get the best of both of those worlds when I'm in DC.
Right. Well, I got you. I want to make a correction. DC is not known for salsa. DC is known for bachata.
Word.
Yeah.
When I say salsa, I'm thinking about the DC Capitol Congress with Shaka Brown. Like that is like an epic weekend where, you have dancers all over the globe coming to DC for that good DC style salsa with Jimmy Yoon and Kazi, all those guys, so that's why I say, and maybe that's a little bit more old school of me, but I definitely know DC as a salsa scene.
We used to be known for salsa, but don't forget about DCBX now.
Oh,
so DCBX has made bachata. DCBX and Cat Arias. Everybody knows you're going to get this on in DC. We got DJ Murder, Sammy. We got some great DJs. I would like DC to be known for salsa, but I'm going to keep it real. The salsa has gone down here.
Wow. But you're right. With Lee and DCBX, DC is definitely more of a bachata town. Now, once you mention Lee and DCBX, you gotta give it to them. Yeah,
people are coming from all over the world to dance bachata here.
All over the globe.
And Cat Arias, she even taught me how to do a little bit of sensual bachata.
Oh, so you know how to do a little bit of a body roll, Earl? Let me see it, Earl. Let me see it.
I know how to do it. The thing is, again, remember, I'm shy, so I'm not trying to. I'm shy, but I'm a pretty straight up person too. If we're gonna get that close, we need to go over my house. Okay, I'm not gonna be fooling around out in public. Girl, you're not gonna be rubbing all over me like that, but that's just me.
You're funny.
I don't try to do that. Don't tease me, please me. So I don't get
talk about it.
I'm just keeping that real right here right now. But I love it. I love the I love the movements. I love the music. And a lot of people are bachata. What do I want to call them? They're traditionalists. I love soul tricks. I love those remixes.
Love it.
Love those remixes. And I think that's what helps everybody across the world loves bachata now because like the music that people can relate to and stuff. When they hear a song or English version of a bachata, they say, "Oh yeah," and everybody loves it, and it's kind of easy as well. It is. While we're on the subject, I don't know. It seems like I'm going to put Watson on the spot mood tonight.
Go for it.
You dance, you teach, and you perform both genres. What is your preference, salsa or bachata, Watson? As far as performing, and as far as teaching, and as far as social dancing, break it down into three.
All right. teaching, performing, social dancing. All right. Teaching, I would say, whew, I think teaching salsa is definitely more rewarding as an instructor, right? Mm-hmm. Why do I say that? I think salsa dancing there's a lot of technique that's involved. There's such a sense of accomplishment, like when you could take someone who's never danced before and help them take their first salsa steps and help them become a social dancer and like really get them involved in the scene as an instructor, right? Okay. As an effective dancer. For me, it's just a very rewarding experience, right? You could do the same thing with bachata, but like with what we mentioned before, bachata's simpler. It's not as technical, right? It's not as fast paced, right? So in terms of teaching, I definitely prefer teaching beginner salsa because it's just so rewarding to see someone take their first salsa steps and over time see those salsa steps turn into a great night out at a salsa club, right? So that's teaching. Performing, oh man, mambo. Performing salsa on two, like that's all I want to do right now, right? Okay. I'm gearing up for competition season, right? Working with a couple of different partners right now for that. So in terms of performing, all I want to do is mambo, right? Learning from like the best, like Ernesto and Dennee and the like, right? Mm-hmm. And in terms of social dancing, right? Watson, social dancing. Traditional bachata. Okay. That's me all night. Like if I can spend an entire night doing one dance, give me that traditional bachata because first of all, most of the time I'm probably going to be drinking if I'm out, right? Mm-hmm. So and salsa's a lot of work, right? So if I'm drinking and if I'm having a good time, if it's 1 o'clock, 2 a.m., I'm trying to chill, I'm trying to relax, give me that traditional bachata, right? Mm-hmm. And number two, I just feel as though I can be a little bit more creative with it. I could be more fun with it. And that's it.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So let me ask you this, Watson. Mm-hmm. You are a very, very sharp dresser. Were you like that when you were growing up, or did you start dressing sharp because you knew you had to be that way when you were hanging around Roland? Were you like that before you met Roland? Were you a sharp dresser?
I tried to be growing up, growing up in church, every Sunday you got to throw on a suit, right? To go to Sunday morning service, right? So, you always had to have your ties on fleek, your shirt pressed, your suit dry clean for Sunday morning service, right? Okay. But it did go to a whole nother level, messing around with Roland. Because that's somebody you got to keep up with, right? First of all, he's tall. He's built like Terrell Owens, like a tall football player, right? And and he always stays fly, right? So in order to compete with him, I had to step up my game, right? But I enjoy getting dressed. I think it's just as a lot about your presentation, right? And, just a little footnote, like whenever I'm going somewhere where I'm not known or if I'm not familiar with the scene, like if I'm in Virginia, or the first time I was ever in Toronto, I make sure, that I'm dressed even sharper, right? Of course. Because, hey, look, that first impression means a lot, right? And again, if people don't know, who you are as a dancer, but they're impressed by the way you look, chances are you're going to draw a little bit more attention and it'll be a better way to get your night started, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes you feel good when you're dressed up. And as you said.
Yeah, definitely. Presentation is everything, Earl. I mean, we talked a little bit about this before we even got on today, right? As dancers, we want to express ourselves, right? We want to present the art that's within us through our dance, right? And for me, it just goes beyond like the dancing. It goes into, what I'm wearing, the cologne, right? How I'm presenting myself, like even on stage, the performance costumes and all that stuff. That stuff speaks volumes, right? And
Beautiful.
I want to make sure it says something when people see it.
Yeah. Well, and again, we're keeping it real. The women love it, guys. They dress well. They love it.
Yeah.
It
I've
don't get
never gotten any complaints, bro.
you know, you were talking about Roland was built like a football player. Now, when I first met you, you were kind of like a little skinny little dude, but I've noticed you've been working out and everything. What made you make that transformation into you kind of like a health nut now? What made you go that?
Right around actually when I first got started dancing, I was pretty much into fitness. I went through a little bit of like a bodybuilding kind of phase. But being in relationships, getting lazy, drinking every night, the biggest misconception, right? I think about when it comes to like Latin dancers or salsa dancers is that we're fit, right? Where if you look at the average Latin night, you're out at a bar, you're drinking, of course you're dancing, you're burning calories, you're taking your steps, but you're drinking, and after that, you're probably eating out late. Every night you're going out, right? So although people want to think that we're healthy, the average dancer, in my opinion, is probably not living the healthiest lifestyle. For me, the biggest shift came, and this is after years and years of just doing me, just living life, just dancing everywhere, right? And drinking and eating whatever. Being that I'm in my 30s, everything was typically, straight through, every single checkup straight through. And then I got a little bit of a warning sign from my doctor saying, hey, look, your blood pressure's up there, right? Yeah. So, and both my parents, have high blood pressure, right? So I was like, oh no, now I got to do something, not just to look good, but now I got to take this action and steps for my overall health and well-being. So I've always wanted to start and do intermittent fasting. I always felt as though it would be effective because years and years ago, I was in the gym and I worked out. I already had that background. So I kind of just, took it to a whole nother level, right? Just started getting really consistent, making a plan for myself, eating for the most part, right? I don't eat great every day, but it's just over time, if you keep the workouts going, if you get what you need with your food and your intake, you're going to get your results. And before I knew it, boom, here I am.
So let me ask you this. When you were with Art in Motion, did you guys place in any competitions? I'm trying to remember. Did you guys place in any competitions when you performed?
Yeah. We actually placed first in bachata teams. Yeah. Was that 2014 or 13? I don't remember, right? But a while back ago, we took first place in bachata as a team. And a couple years later, we took, I think it was third place in large teams pro-am, and then second place in small teams pro-am. Okay. This was like right before the New York movement came in and kind of crushed everybody and told everybody to go home.
Okay.
But yeah, we placed plenty of times. Yeah.
So you were working with Paola. Have you been working with anybody since then? Or tell me some of the people that you actually partnered with besides Paola.
Yeah, let's take it back, right? So this is one of those conversations where I have to say that I've been incredibly fortunate, right? And blessed to have had so much talent. And I continue to have a lot of talent around me with people that I can partner up with and team up with in order to, accomplish some of our dance goals, right? So first partner ever was Princess Serrano, right? A little firecracker. Me and her, we did pro-am competitions. We placed plenty of them, right? Placed first in salsa on one at the we took second place at the World Salsa Summit. The first time we competed, we took first place in the Rising Stars division at the World Salsa Summit once. And I believe we took second place on two, right? At the World Salsa Summit, right? A couple years back. So Princess Serrano, amazing girl. I mean, everybody should check her out. She dances with Eddie Torres Jr. now. Phenomenal dancer. She's going to go down as one of the most diligent, fiery, committed dancers for me at least, that I've ever known, right?
Okay.
At such a young age. And then after that, it was Paula, right? Paula, gifted, right? Incredibly talented, super huge, big personality. And, you know, she is like bachata queen, right? In terms of like, you know, how she moves and her creativity, right? So I was very fortunate to, you know, be able to work with her for a little while, right? And now I'm working with Katie, who's an actress here in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah. She's been on, you know, so many different plays and throughout the country. And with COVID, you know, it was an opportunity for us to start working together and doing like online classes. So we did that. So we do bachata lessons there. I have another partner who we are working on some competition pieces. She's from Australia, and she's going to be, we're going to be working together on a competition piece on two for the next World Salsa Summit. And then, you know, Christina Osorio from Reading, Pennsylvania, we're getting ready to compete in bachata, right? So again, I've just been super fortunate to have all this talent around me, right? Grateful, right? Overall. And I'm grateful for everyone that I've worked with in the past, and I definitely look forward to like the opportunities that all my current partners are going to be working with, that we're going to be working on in the future.
Nice. So I know, like I say, you've come down to DC all the time. Everybody knows you. I kind of was thinking you was going to say DC was your favorite other salsa scene out of Philadelphia, because when you come down here, you be having a ball. You have a blast down here.
Yeah. So DC, if I had to give DC a number one spot, DC is the number one party town, right? So, I mean, in terms of like salsa, got to give it to New York. In terms of central bachata, in a little bit of traditional bachata that's there, yeah, you know, I definitely get that aspect. But if I had to go to one city to party and drink and dance all night, I'm going to be at the Resolution Jam, presented by StuckOnSalsa. Because I know I'm coming in, dressing fly, and I'm walking out having the time of my life.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't searching for that plug, but thank you for the plug.
Every single time I would go to whether it's like the all-white party that you would have in like July, like I'm telling you, I'm buying new outfits, I'm buying new bow ties. I'm like, you're gonna get it in tonight. So in terms of like a one-night party, it really doesn't get better than the parties that you throw in DC, bro.
Wow. Thank you for the kind words, Watson. We're going to wrap this up because I know you're busy. I'm a private person, so I don't like people to ask me private questions, but I want to ask you because people keep hitting me up, and ladies, thirsty ladies keep asking me, they want to ask me, are you single?
Isn't that the question? Yeah, I'm currently single. May not be for too long, right? But I'm currently single.
Okay, all right, okay. That sounds good. Well, Watson, have you ever thought about writing a book? I mean, you got a lot of stories to tell. Think about it.
You know, I do a great deal of journaling, right? And who knows? My life has been pretty interesting. And sometimes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can think this too. Like sometimes I think like, man, I should just have a camera just following me around for all the random things that happen. Both, of course, with like Latin dancing and some of the other things that I'm trying to accomplish now. But yeah,
that's beautiful, Watson. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy, hectic schedule. It was great talking to you. You know,
pleasure's all mine, bro.
A lot of people say I have this show because I don't have any friends and I just do it so I can talk to people.
Yeah,
but I enjoy talking to you. It's great seeing you. And I got to tell you, a lot of times I'd be like, you know, Watson's good, but I want to challenge him to a shines. I always wanted to challenge you and Noel Rodriguez and Rob Briscoe to a shines challenge, but I think I'm just dreaming, you know. But anyway,
bro, you don't want none of this smoke, bro. You don't want none of this smoke, bro. Listen, you know, stick to promoting, stick to the parties, Leave the dancing to us young bucks out here.
Okay, all right. Well, so when COVID's over, and the next time, I'm competitive, and since you talked that smack to me, next time you come to DC, we're gonna make it happen.
We gonna listen. You ain't gonna be the only one out here hitting a split. I'm stretching. I'm gonna do my little pirouette and I'm gonna just drop it like it's hot.
There you go. Awesome. Watson, thank you so much, man. Thank you for your time. Great to see you. You look great. I appreciate it so much. And, one more thing. You have your own school now, right?
Yeah, because of COVID, we shut down. But I have the dance company, Hispaniola Latin Dance. We are more of a entertainment and dance company. So what I really started doing before COVID hit was we started throwing events, right, here in Center City, Philly. And I remember, you gave a couple passes for the Resolution Jam at our first event. So hopefully we get to pick that up through the dance company. And of course, as things open up, we'll be opening up our doors to offer salsa and bachata classes in the city. For now, me and Katie, we're going to be doing our online bachata classes, right? We're going to be focusing on that now. And I'm doing private lessons throughout the week. Do a couple of them every week.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Earl.
That was a nice spot that you had in Philly, Center City too. I drove up there, remember? That was a great spot.
Yo, I love my home, man. I love my home. Like Philadelphia is always going to be home for me, right? No matter where I'm at in the world, no matter how many homes I end up owning in different places, that my heart will always be all Philly, right? So I love the city.
Beautiful. Watson, we're going
to comment here. George, Lynn, I'm just taking a look at the comments now. Jenny, oh man. Thank you guys for tuning in, guys.
Roland turned me on to Joey Chris. He's a DJ, right?
Yeah. Like on Fridays, his wife Delilah, she cooks, right? La Casa de Delilah, great Dominican food. So I would come by to pick up a plate and he'd be out there just like slinging that bachata and salsa, bumping it all through the block, right? So I'd come in, get my empanadas and start dancing my bachata at the same time, man. Yeah, George is an amazing DJ.
So is her, well, here we go. Here I go putting you on the spot again because I know they're your people. But is her food as good as it looks?
Oh, it's better than how it looks. It looks good and goes down great. I make sure, like, if I'm going to, I call her Mama D, Delilah, right? So, Mama D, if you're out there, I love you, right? But before I go to her house, I make sure I go to the gym because I need to make room for all of that food. Because I go in, I get my rice, my beans, my sweets, my cake, my empanadas, like, give it to me all. It's amazing. So, check her out.
They're one of the sponsors of the show tonight.
Oh, where? Nice. Yeah. La Casa de Delilah. Yo.
Yeah.
She's a favorite during quarantine. If you're gonna take out some authentic Dominican food and support Mama D at La Casa de Delilah. You can follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, and she's a good dancer too.
Yeah, she does. She is. I remember first coming up. Believe it or not, she used to intimidate me. I'm like, okay, she's good. I'm just getting started. Like, this is about a decade ago. She probably doesn't even know this, but I was like, okay, now I'm dancing with Delilah. I need to make sure I got my act together out here.
Yeah, that's good. Watson, thank you so much, young man. I look forward to seeing you again soon when COVID is over. Thank you for stopping.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Thank you so much, Earl. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, brother.
All right, bye.
Yeah.